वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखादरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. Welcome to the scripture class, and today's subject is Uddhava Gita. As we know, Uddhava Gita is the book where the teaching of Sri Krishna to Uddhava is recorded and is known as last message of Sri Krishna. After the Yadu Vamsa was destroyed and Krishna is going to rewind his Naralila, his Krishna Leela, Uddhava comes and asks to Sri Krishna for spiritual guidance and how it is difficult for him to live without the presence of Krishna in this world. Then Krishna gives this message, spiritual message, to Uddhava and through him to all the people, as he had given the spiritual message of the Gita to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all the people for all the time. So Arjuna was friend of Krishna, a warrior, and Uddhava was like a disciple of Krishna, a very spiritual person. And here Krishna talking that lead a life of spirituality and you will be taken across the world of Maya. You will get mukti. Why do you worry I am here or not? How can the world remain without God? Krishna may not be in form, but he is always there in spirit. And saying that, Krishna now brings the wonderful story of the Avadhuta and the Yadu, his ancestor. His ancestor, the great king Yadu, met a sannyasi who was young, bright, well built, supremely intelligent, and he was shining like a sun. Seeing this formidable person, so Yadu, the king, the bright, the ruler, himself has the inclination to spirituality. And he says that to seeing this man, how could you attain something you have attained? You look so different from the common people. You seem to have no worries and anxieties. How did you get the knowledge of something you have got, the knowledge of that we none of us have? How did you get that knowledge? Who taught you the supreme wisdom? Was Yadu's query or inquisitiveness to know about who taught this person so that now he is so wise. He seems to have known the truth of the self, truth about oneself, the Atma Jnana he has. Who could be his teacher? So sometimes the teacher reflects the glory into the student. Often the musicians, you will listen that, oh, I am taught by this musician, I am the disciple of this teacher, like the Jasraj, Pandit Jasraj, I'm the student of Pandit Jasraj, I am a disciple of Rashid Khan. Like that, people often give the name of the teacher, illustrious teacher. And teacher, when you know about the teacher, they find something of in the student. That's why Yadu was curious to know about the teacher who might have taught him the knowledge of spirituality to this Brahmana or to this Avadhuta. And Avadhuta was pleased to reply to him, finding him to be a spiritual seeker, though ruling a great country and a great himself great king. But he was so deep into spirituality, so he was pleased to talk to him about his own teacher. And he said, "O great king, as you have found out the greatness in what I have realized, I also know that you are not an ordinary king. All many kings are just interested in ruling the country and having the grandeur and pomp of the ruler. But you seem to be very interested in spiritual truths. And I will tell you who my teacher was. In fact, I had not one teacher. I had 24 phenomenon, 24 things in the world from whom I learned, from animate object and inanimate object. Some of them are human beings, some of them are just nature. I learned from them the teachings of spirituality. And those are all like my teachers. Not that they taught me, but I learned from their life. I observed them keenly and I found spiritual message in their life. That's why I regard them as to be my teachers. So that's what Avadhuta told to Yadu. And among them, simple, like the earth, air, fire, those all become his of the 24 teachers. Then the one courtesan, and that was teacher. And another teacher just we read the last time was one Kumari, one girl, one girl where people came, guests came, and she was poor, nobody was there at her house. That became the teacher. From that, what he learned, how did he get the story that he doesn't say? But somehow he finds he might have heard this story from someone and accepted them and found them to be giving him the great lesson. Lesson was simple, it was nothing spiritual. That girl, this Kumari, was at house alone, not very rich. People had come in her house as the guest. Now there was no rice, only little paddy was there. In a house where rice was not there is a sign of great poverty. So the Kumari didn't want to show the poverty. She quickly, when she found that the people have come, the maiden, Kumari means maiden, so she quietly took some paddy and went to husk them in a local husking that instrument called hiki or husking machine as it's called. There is nothing machine about that. It's just a wooden plank with some pestle and that thing. It just you just pull it and you just make it out. The grains, husk of the paddy is removed and rice grain is obtained. So while she was doing alone in mortar and pestle, uh, what happened is she had bangles made of conch shell. And while she was doing that, these bangles were making sound. And the guest in her house close by could hear something going on. This maiden is having some activity, and by listening to the hearing to the sound of bangles, they could know that she's husking the paddy. And there was that means there was no even the rice grain there. Rice was not there, so they are so poor. She wanted not to reveal her poverty, so this bangles became the problem. Something on the arm. So what she did is she removed the bangles. And when she removed, there were many bangles in both hands. She removed almost all bangles, only two on each hand was there. So that sound is less. And after that, when she was crushing the paddy to remove the husk from the paddy grains to make it rice, still little sound was there because each arm has two bangles each, two conch shell bangles each. Shakha we call. So this shakha made of shankha. Shankha is conch shell. So what she did is still there is sound. So ultimately she removed one from each hand. Only when only one was left, there is no sound. That was the teaching. It's nothing about that. But what he says, I learned from the Kumari or maiden the teaching that when there are many people, there can be quarrel. And living with a few people, their mind will be quiet. Quarrel just starts without any intention. And this Avadhuta, he said, when there were only two, then also there was talk, some sound was going. There was not desired quietude was there. So meditative environment was not there. Something quietness was not there. So only when one is there, there can be quietude, peace, calmness can be maintained. So that's what I learned, O king, from this maiden or Kumari, that there should not be the monks, they should not live together. Those who are very serious about the spiritual progress should retire to themselves, should be alone, living alone. That's why it is said always satsangatve nissangatam, nissanga. And this having the holy company, what does it do? Sri Ramakrishna says, someone asked, what does holy company do? Sri Ramakrishna always says, sadhu sangha. That is very important for spiritual practice. In fact, the first and very most important. And in the scriptures, it is the same thing. Sri Ramakrishna just reiterates that sadhu sangha, sat sangha. What does it help? Sri Ramakrishna says it inspires you for God. Ishwarer Uddipana hai. It the God is when you have satsanga, you talk about God, something thought about God, something about divine, otherworldly, more than the world and worldly matters are in discussion, and people know that there are something more than the world. So if we are always engrossed in the world and worldly matters, we become worldly. When we become worldly, then all the problems of the world, they just drown us. World, Sri Ramakrishna says, is like the whirlpool. When you are in it, it will press you down and it will kill you. Spiritually, you will be devastated, and also you will not get peace of mind. So you have to get out of this whirlpool of samsara and put your mind in something higher than the worldliness. So to get rid of worldliness, you need satsanga or sadhu sangha or the holy company. Satsangatve, he says, Ishwarer Uddipanaha. You are reminded of God, something other than the worldliness. World is not everything. So going out of this to enjoy the real match. hmm, Those who play ice hockey or cricket, whatever match you like. Those who are in the gallery, they enjoy the most. They are not playing. Those who are in the playing field, they are very hard working somehow to win. Their whole focus is on win. But the real joy of the match is by the spectators. So to get out of the match, when you are playing, when with the players, then all the problems of life come. Just get aside of your play and watch what is going on, the leela, the play is going on. And that is what makes satsanga or sadhu sangha. Satsangatve, you get the uddipana of God, you get the inspiration of the divine, some inclination to the divine that happens. And in the verse, this Bhajagobindam, it says, Satsangatve Nissangatvam. This Satsanga, holy company, will lead you to remain, inspire you to be one alone, Nissanga, no company. From holy company to no company. You don't need any company. When you are able to live with self with joy and have not to seek other company, then what is said? We just read like a child we become. We become just like a child. Arvaka is the word given. After Kumari, the story of Arvaka comes that we read last time, last Uddhava Gita class. What does the child do? Child is very happy with itself. Some toys you give, and he forgets everything. And if it has food, no honor, dishonor, nothing there. Who is respecting? What is there? What is prestige? What is to be gained? Nothing there. He just works. And that is described in the scripture. The child's work, play is described as Atma Krida, Atmarati, Yastu Atmarati Syat, Atma Triptascha Manava. Happy with oneself, sporting with oneself, finding pleasure in oneself, Atmarati, engaged, engrossed in oneself, doesn't need anyone, little toy. Even the toys are little bigger and the boys. But what about the small kid, the baby in the cradle? If that baby is well fed, just it jumps and laughs, and in the cradle just rocks. That's what the Atma Rati, Atma Krida, happy by itself. So later on, the sense of mother comes, and when it grows, where is mother? Then it cries. Mother has to be there if even if it fails. So there is the sangha of mother. Matri sangha is needed then. Slowly, slowly growing. But in the cradle, the baby, the young baby in the cradle, happy with itself. Nothing is needed. That is the state of great Paramahamsa yogis. Yes, Atmarati Syat Atma Triptasya Manava. Atmani eva cha santusta. He is very contented with oneself. Doesn't need anybody to make him satisfied. Contented with oneself. These are the words of the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So that's what it happens from the child. He said, I learned these things, oh Yadu. From Kumari, I learned the importance of living alone. When you live alone, you are at peace. There is no chance of conflict, friction with other. When there are two, there may be sound, some friction, some noise, some quarrel. There is a chance of that. Not that always it happens. We know in the family how there is somehow sometimes there is quarrel happens, there is a shouting happens. When there are only two children have grown up and they've gone to college and school, are living separate, husband and wife should be all very happy, but it doesn't always happen. Some issue comes, and then some difference of opinion happens, and everyone, both of them want to put forth the justification for his and her opinion, and then says you, then the question of all this anger starts, then the quarrel starts. Only two bangles, and how sound starts coming, loud sound, as they say. When in the first year, when one person is married, then um, husband speaks and wife listens. Next year, then wife speaks and husband listens. And the third year, wife and husband both speak, the neighbors listen. So, like two persons, they start quarreling, shouting. Two bangles were there. That is the condition of when we are two. Not that every time it happens. It happens when we are not wise, we are arrogant, we are egotistic, we can't understand others' ideas, we don't have the higher ideal of family life, how to contain, compromise, adjustment is not there, always putting one's own image, one's own ego forth. What I said is right, what you said is wrong. There is always, I am great, I am right, I am correct, you are wrong, your idea, opinion is incorrect. When we say start both of them, one of them says, another accepts, that's fine. Then there is nice family happens. But when both of them start doing that, then there is friction. But that should not be the case. The case will be different. They can be two, they can be many. You see, monks live in the Sangha. Monks live in the Sangha, and many monks live. There are like the bangles of that maiden, that Kumari, having many Sangha, and they work so great. But how much is the noise there? Very little, no noise almost. If there is noise, it is not perceptible. People don't even hear. Something is there, and they meet up the thing. They reflect upon it. Something in my ego was working. I'm sorry, I said that to you. I should not have said. This they say that everything is cleared as quickly as possible if there was conflict of a difference of opinion or difference of thought or something was wrong. Person will go and say, I'm sorry. And they say, how to know Canada? They praise Canada and comparing with other countries. In Canada, they say when some cyclist is driving, coming, and somehow he comes to and touches some pedestrian. Then a pedestrian will go and say, sorry, I disturbed you. So it was not pedestrian's mistake. Mistake was cyclist. But pedestrian will say, go and say, I'm sorry, because of me were to divert it, I was inattentive, like that. So this is the way when monks live together, they do in the same way. Uh, Householders also, if we are spiritual by nature, if we have devotion to God, if do not mind to say sorry, and if you know that this ego is useless thing, this always pretending to promote your own image, and feel that if my thing is not heard, my image is lost, I will not remain the same. So if I do not put forth my leg, I put my foot forward, like that you say. And that is the problem that creates. That's what the Avadhuta says, I learned from Arvaka. So what it learned from the Arvaka, it learned that the thing is, you need to Kurarorvaka. Before that was Kurara. After the Arvaka was the Kumari. Okay. Hmm. न मे मानावमानौस्तौ न चिंता गेह पुत्रिणाम आत्मक्रीडा आत्मरतिर विचरामिहवालवत. Like a child, he says, I have no family, I have no house, I have no family, no children. That's why I live like a child. Atmakrida atmaratir vicharam iha. In this world I move, happy to be with myself, pleased to be with myself, and sporting with myself, with the higher ideal. Otherwise, people um, often feel lonely. You see, when they are alone, there's the problem. The lonely they feel, whom to talk, whom to communicate. I feel I am alone. So that happens when you don't hold on to some higher ideal. You don't have some thought of divine in you. You don't want to reach that state. Thinking of something of higher ideal doesn't happen. You feel nobody to talk with. What is that? So, but this Muni, this Brahmana, this Avadhuta is happy with himself, always thinking the higher ideal, plain living and high thinking. That's what it happens. They think high about the divine, about the creator, about the joy of this world, about the variety of human beings, about the varieties of situations. And Shankaracharya, eh, that Kopina Panchakam is so beautiful verse, in that Ahar Nisham Brahma Sukhe Ramanta. Day and night he is Ramanta, engaged in Brahma Sukha. Aharnisam, nothing he wants, always, he is always with Brahman. Brahman is the self, Atman. And that is the great joy that he finds in the thought of Brahman. Aharnisam Brahma Sukhe, Swananda Bhavi Paripurnamanta. Always filled with the ananda of the self. That's what this Muni or this Brahmana also says. Atmakrida, Atmaratir, Vicharamiha Balavat. Like a child, like a baby, I move on this in this world, here, uh, um, Atmakrida and Atmarati. Dvaveva chintaya mukto paramananda aplutau. Yo bimukto jado balo, yo gunebhya param gata. Two people only are free from anxiety and immersed in supreme bliss. Two types of people. So, free from all anxiety and immersed in bliss. Not only free, not only neutral, but they are very joyful, immersed in bliss. That is the thing. Paramananda apluto. What a beautiful word. As if there is the water of bliss, and he is submerged completely. Apluto. Um, who is the chintaya mukta? No thoughts, no anxiety, no worries at all. Who are those two types of people? Yo vimugdho jado balo, yo gunebhya paramgata. The child that knows nothing and never works. And that is one type. He knows nothing. Nothing means he does not have anything to worry about. So he doesn't have honor, dishonor. He doesn't seek anything. Just food mother has given, finished. Nothing else that person wants. What type of dress I have put on? Oh, they may criticize my dress. Maybe this ornament people may not like. Always we are in anxiety, showing all the good things to the world. Always filled of anxiety. What they will comment upon that? How do I look today? Like that, everything upon others' opinion that we do. That's what we makes us full of anxiety and worries about seeking the opinion about of others. But the children, the babies, no opinion about others. So they don't they know nothing about others thing. So one is that no anxiety comes from there, and never works. Works means doesn't work for himself, for selfish end, to do something only for the so they do not have to work. So that is the work. um, and who is that one? The baby or the child. And who is the other type of person who is like the child, happy, free from anxiety, and immersed in the bliss? And uh, Paramananda Apluta, who is the other? The man who has realized the being above the gunas. So that is another complete knower. He has realized person, always in the bliss of the Brahman. And that is beyond all the gunas, free from all the gunas. No sattva, rajas, and tamas. He is neither active nor inert. He is not even balanced. He goes beyond all gunas, knowing gunas to be the part of the body and mind, and always in association or identification with that entity which is beyond the gunas. And that person, because it is beyond gunas, that's why it is always immersed in bliss. So Avadhuta here compares himself to the boy Arvaka, baby, not boy. So after that comes the story of Kumari. In the 6 verses, he described about that bracelet and making husk and all that. After that, what he says, let us see. From the Kumari, he said, describes that what he learned, where many dwell, there is quarrel, and even between two people, there is a chance for talk. Therefore, one should live alone like the bracelet of the maiden. So, if you want to avoid quarrel, as I described, not only living alone, you become free from quarrel. If we have lot of desires to become famous or some to gain honor, respect, all that, even inside there goes on all the quarrels and the disturbance all goes on even inside. You should mind will say you should do this, and other times say not that, why you thought that way, I should have thought this way, people will not recognize me. Even living single, that person can be very much filled of anxiety if that person is not spiritually oriented. Spiritual orientation, if there, even 5 people live together, there are so many houses, you must have seen what wonderful thing happens. There is so much of understanding between the family. Even there are houses where many generations live. Even 50 people live together in the joint families, and there's so much understanding among the people. Um, the owner, the main leader of the house, and his wife, mostly the grandparents. Now he has children, they have grandchildren, all live in the house with many sons, like 3 or 4 sons, and their daughter-in-law, their wives, and their children, and all living together and very happily living together because they know this is our leader of our house. They are impartial, they take care, and they have the tradition of spirituality. There is prayer every evening, and there is care for all the people together. No partiality among the children and grandchildren by that person. He has to be very wise and very democratic in that way, and that there makes no distinction among all the children. There may be varieties of sons and more varieties of grandchildren, but that person is so wise and so well respected by all that all are happy and peaceful. 50% living together, no noise, no talk, no quarrel. That may happen if you are rooted in spiritual practice. There is prayer in the morning, prayer in the evening. And that is so important. So, therefore, one should live alone like the bracelet of the maiden. Then Avadhuta says something of the spiritual message. Mana ekatra samyujyat jita swaso jitatmanah vairagya Vairagyabhyasa yogena griyamanam atandrita. Conquering posture and through that controlling the breath. One ever alert should collect the mind together and hold it steady through renunciation and systemic practice. He gives a spiritual lesson to King Edu. What he said, one should practice asana first. As yogi, he was the Avadhuta yogi. So one should know how to sit in a correct posture. For that, one needs practice. When you have learned to sit on particular posture for a long time, as if you have conquered the asana, conquered the posture, and through that conquering the posture, you have controlled the breath, pranayama, asana, then prana. First, before that comes yama and niyama. These are all in the Raja Yoga. These are all part of the Dhyana Yoga or Raja Yoga. Yama and niyama, the basic ethics and morality of life. And then you start practicing to control the mind and to gain the spiritual wisdom to you. And then for the spiritual wisdom comes asana. You learn to live in a seat, in a particular posture for a longer time. And so that is called conquering of the posture. Then comes, through that conquering of the posture comes controlling the breath, pranayama. Even breath is even, and it is gradual, it is rhythmic, it is slow. And when such breathing is there, then the mind remains calm. When we are calm, only then we have a rhythmic and slow breathing. When we are agitated, our breathing becomes fast and very hard and very much connected. This breathing is so much connected with our mental state. So, if by controlling our breath, we can control the mind. Because agitated mind breathes in a different way, angry mind breathes in a different way. You find yourself and you can observe other persons who are angry. How did they breathe? How did they breathe? So that way, by controlling the breath, so that is another asana and pranayama. Ever alert should collect mind together. Now sit there and alert. What about alert about what? Not alert about what is going on in Uganda, what is going on in Azerbaijan, nothing like that. Alert about yourself, alert about your own mind. Am I quiet? Am I keeping well? Am I spiritual? Am I deviated from the thought that I should not think? So, like that, ever alert, and that person should collect the mind together. Mind together is only one mind. Why mind together? Because mind, though we have only one mind, but it is so much fragmented that it is runs in so many directions. If you observe your own mind, if we study our own mind for a few seconds, it thinks of one way, just after a few seconds, fraction of seconds, it goes to other. So innumerable things the mind starts thinking, as if the one mind has become many mind and scattered all around. Scattered mind is a restless mind, a troubled mind, and trouble giving mind. Who gives it trouble? You gives trouble to yourself and trouble to others. The controlled mind is a peaceful mind, is a mind that is makes you quiet and that supports others also to remain peaceful. So gather should collect the mind together. That's why the word came. This mind who was running here and there, bring it back to itself. Collect the mind together. Vairagyabhyasa yogena dhriyamanam atandrita. Atandrita means without not letting it go. Be alert with alertness. Dhriyamanam. So that person becomes like that, holds the mind, collects the mind together. Mind becomes one. One thought comes. When the thought is one, that mind is collected mind. When there are many thoughts coming one after another without control, that mind is divided and fragmented. And that is the sign. That's why it said collected mind. The thoughts of the mind are collected, and one thought is flowing from the mind. And when that mind collect the mind and hold it steady through renunciation and systemic practice, now sometimes the mind be collected for some time. After that, again it fragments like the wave breaking into water, breaking into many waves. So like that it happens. How to make it steady? This mind can remain steady through renunciation and systemic practice. You have to practice to keep mind flowing in one direction for a longer time. And that is what is called meditation. That is what is called dhyana. So to do dhyana, one thing character needed, he says, is renunciation. That's what vairagya vyasena, the word here came, vairagya vyasa yogena. What yoga? Vairagya abhyasa yoga. Practice of renunciation, yoga, practice of renunciation. Sri Krishna said in the Gita also that when Arjuna said, "You are asking me to control the mind, but controlling the mind is not so easy, Sri Krishna. It is like controlling the wind. How can I control the wind? Like that is controlling the mind. Vayo riva suduskaram." So Krishna says, "You are true, Arjuna. It is difficult to control the mind. But abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate." By practice and by vairagya or renunciation, it can be controlled. It is not impossible, difficult, no doubt. But if you apply some technique to it, abhyasa and vairagya, if you practice, try to control it. And when you try to control it, mind has to be pure. It is purified mind. If mind is not purified and you try to control it, it is really like catching wind, difficult to control. But that's why this vairagya abhyasa yogena. Abhyasena tu konteya vairagyena cha grihate. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha says this our this Patanjali for in the Raja Yoga, Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha, Tat, what control that? What that? Mind. Control your mind through the practice of Abhyasa Vairagya. So Abhyasa is practice and Vairagya, what is that? Vairagya is uh, not being attracted to the world, not being disturbed by the world. We often get disturbed by the world so much. That is lack of vairagya. Somebody does something. Oh, why that person is doing everything? You see anything happening, so you get disturbed as if you are inviting. Please disturb me. Somebody smiles. Why does he smiling? The habit of something wrong to me. You disturb. You are inviting disturb. Somebody is doing something, walking. You say, oh, that person was walking, went fast. What is the matter? Always disturbed by something else. That is lack of vairagya. Vairagya is not wearing gerua cloth and all that. Vairagya is not being disturbed by the world. So Vairagya is getting immunity from the disturbance of the world. World doesn't disturb. World has no concern for you. We have to be so much of vairagya that even if world has concern and wants to disturb, I refuse to be disturbed. I refuse to be insulted. You want to disturb, insult me, but I refuse to be insulted like the Buddha did. What Buddha did? Somebody came and said so many wrong words, all nasty words to Buddha. And Buddha was quiet. He was same peaceful, smiling, nothing happened. And they asked that person who had come, she was surprised. I said so many words to this great person honored by so many people, and there's no effect of my words to this Buddha. What happened? So he asked, I said you so many abusive words. What is it that you are not disturbed at all? I can see from your countenance that you are not disturbed. So Buddha said, "What happened? Nothing. None of my words entered you." Yes, actually, that I didn't take any of your abusive words. And you know, when you go for pilgrimage, then what do you do for a wealth and gold and the ornaments? And what do you do? We give that into the in in the care of our neighbor. We say, I'm going to pilgrimage for 1 month. They used to have to go on a long pilgrimage. There were no banks, no lock at that time, and but the robbers were there, thieves were always there. So if somebody knew that there was nobody, no house is there, and all have gone to pilgrimage, very easy at night they could open and take away all the valuable things. So that was the custom. Valuable was given to the people, neighbors, who would keep it and protect it until that person comes, and that is again returned. So, what do you do with the valuables that when you go to pilgrimage? He says, why? Everybody, as everybody does, we give to our neighbor for their security. When I go, they keep. When they go, I keep, and I protect that. And what happens to the things? When I come back, then I get the things. So actually, that I did, oh, Mr. Brahmin, says Buddha. When you thrown all the things to me, I didn't take any one of these. So all those are already returned to you. Because something is given, if your neighbor says, I won't take your gold, I'm also busy, I'm also going. Then what happens? Then that thing is returned to the person who was trying to give that. So I didn't accept anything. When we become agitated by the words, by the action of other persons, intended action, then we really help other person, and we accept that, and that person's work is fulfilled. Trying to disturb you, he is successful in disturbing us. But when we refuse to be disturbed by others, then their work is unsuccessful, and you are controlled. That is vairagya, one way of vairagya, not being disturbed by others. Another is not being attracted to the world. We often get attracted to the world. That is another thing that happens. And when we get attracted to the things of the world, either the greed comes in us. Oh, if I could have like this thing often. Where did you buy this? How much does it cost? When you go and ask some person, you saw a nice thing. And you said, where do you get this? It's so beautiful. And how do you get this? There's not stealing. You don't steal that, but you want to possess that. The greed has come to have that thing to you because you liked it so much. Another house you go. That is the attraction of the thing for you. The vairagya has become less. You want something that you didn't really need it. Whatever you needed, that is there. There is cooking pot is there, gas is there, washing machine is there, dishwasher, everything that you need is there. Now this antique, now this wonderful art, piece of art, that you are attracted to that. So that is also a cause of not having vairagya. Vairagya is, what does vairagya brings? It's not, you don't become inert, that you don't appreciate anything. You appreciate, very nice, this, oh, this piece of your antique, this art, this statue, so nice. Oh, you liked it, please take it. No, 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 I like it here, I don't want it, I like it here. Someone said to Swami Vivekananda when he had gone to Lahore, he gave a lecture on Vedanta in Lahore. It is in complete. It is in the lectures from Colombo to Almora on Vedanta, very famous lecture. And there he met the professor there. His name was Tirath Ram. Tirath Ram was very impressed. He was professor of, I think, mathematics or something in the University of Lahore. And Swamiji was having, seeing the way he brought out his Panna very simple talk, and he got one nice watch that the Americans had given. And he says, to appreciate Tirath Ram, Professor Tirath Ram said, Swamiji, you have a nice watch. He said, Swamiji immediately took out that watch and put in Professor Tirath Ram's pocket. Tirath Ram said, no, 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 I was just appreciating it. I don't need it. Please use it yourself. And Swami Vivekananda said, okay, I will use it myself, but I will use it in this pocket, in Tirath Ram's pocket. That was Swamiji's view. No attachment. Just he was happy to give that gift to Tirath Ram just because he's appreciated. So, like that, we can say this painting looks so nice in your house. You can appreciate. This statue is beautiful, beautiful Krishna brought from Indonesia. That without having any desire that I should have this, I can put it there beside my bed and it will look so nice. When we get to that type of thought, Vairagya has become less. The thing is there itself. it looks good. Like that is the Vairagya Vyasena. When we have that type of Vairagya, we appreciate everything in the world. You appreciate houses also. This house is nice, but without having any desire, if I could possess that. So there is strong idea of not wanting anything. So if we have desire to have bigger house, oh, how many 4 bedroom house? You are perhaps 1 person or 2 person. You see bedroom, 4 bedroom. You said, oh, we don't have this big house. Ah, the Vairagya gone. Why you need 4 bedroom? You are 2 persons. One room is there, another room, 2 room enough. Some guests come that as Kabir Das said, no, साईं इतना दीजिए जिसमें साधु भी भूखा न हम भी भूखे न रहे साधु भी भूखा न जाए साईं इतना दीजिए जिसमें कुटुंब समाए in which the family is protected, is fed well, decent life. Give me so much that we also are not hungry. We also have to eat something, and whoever comes, I could help him too. Sadhu bhi bhuka na jaye. Sadhu comes, one guest comes, so I can feed that sadhu, and we are also eaten. That much is enough. We don't want riches, says the Kabir Das. So, like that, he says, one other room. Why 2 rooms? You are only 2 persons living one room. Some guests come, some children may come for that one room. Not more than that. So, like that is Vairagya, Vyasa. You don't seek anything, but you enjoy a nice house, very good. So, it's so much light here. I went to hospital, and this was a nice room and big glass window, sunlight coming. But I never thought I should come and live here. Hospital, who wants to live in the hospital? So, but that room was appreciative, very nice, Amba River Hospital. So that happens when you have vairagya, no attraction for anything. You can appreciate the thing, but appreciate there itself. You don't have to bring that back to your place. That is called vairagya, not being disturbed by others and not being attracted to the things of others. But you can appreciate others in their own. This T-shirt is so nice. T-shirt on you, it looks nice. Thinking that not having the if I could wear, no that thought. It's very nice in you. It looks so nice. Mm, that's how this vairagya can be done. So that's what he says about vairagya vyasena. It can be controlled. And breathing, usir, vairagya, and abhyasa. By that, you grow spiritually. You get the power to meditate. You have the power to control your mind. Like that, it happens. Ah. यस्मिन् मतो लब्ध पदम यदेतत् शनै शनैर्मुञ्चति कर्म रेणुन् सत्वेन वृद्धेन रजस्तमस्य विधूय निर्वाणम उपैत्य निंदनम. So beautiful poetic expression of spiritual progress is saying, where being steady means where means in God. You are steady in God. You have started meditating. You can put your mind there. Mind is not disturbed by the world, not attracted, not repulsed, no hatred, no attraction. Where being steady, this collected mind gradually gives up the impulsions to work and winnowing of. Then there is a desire to work in the sense selfish work. Work as karma yoga has no problem. Work karma is the problem. So whenever work is said, is the work done with the intention of getting something, gaining something. We always try to work for, and not for the work's sake, not for the sake of our spiritual progress, but work for gaining something else. So that becomes a work and that binds. And so this person says, gives up the impulsions to work. But the working as karma yoga is not work, it doesn't bind. And winnowing of rajas and tamas. It says that as if rajas and tamas, the dirts have come. What are that? It says karma renun. It is like the dust of karma, this rajas and tamas. Rajas means all activity with all desires, seeking the things, gratification of the world. All what we say that I want this, I have to achieve this, I have to go to the big post, I have to become manager after that, so I have to become boss like that. The boss said me so much, I want to become boss. And then when you become boss, then you think that this boss is very bad and says the things I wanted holiday and he didn't give, like that. And one day you become boss and you do the same thing. It's not possible to give holiday to everyone. You also said, no, no, you can't get to vacation now. You become the same thing. So, Je jai Lanka, se hai Ravan. Whoever goes to Lanka, he becomes Ravana. That's the only story is there. So that's how Prabha, this idiom in Bengali. So like that, it happens with all the desire of this is the activity, action, binding rajas. It all rajas brings that. And what is tamas? Oh, too tired, I cannot work, lazy, sleepy, no thinking, no new ideas coming. And all these people, they are working, only working for things. I am so great, I don't work anything. You have forgotten that you are not sattvika, you have become tamasic. Not better than tamasic is always rajasic. Rajas is good. But this karma, this vairagya and dhyana and all that, this tamas and rajas both are taken aside, like the winnowing fan. There is no soup bolte na soup, which takes away from rice if you then husk and any small pieces of stone. Those are all separated. That's called winnowing plate. Like that is the mind becomes like that. Karma renun satvena vriddhena rajas tamassa vidhuya nirvanam. They become vidhuya, dhauta, removing, washing, that all that dirt is clean by such mind. And nirvana upaiti anindhanam, like nirvanam is attained by not adding fuel to the fire. Indhana, indhana, that is the fuel. That's called indhan. The Sanskrit word. And you don't put any indhan to the fire. Now fire is not ablaze. It nirvanam has attained. It has died out. The nirvanam word from this is Bhagavatam, told by Sri Krishna, relating what Avadhuta said to Yadu. And this nirvana we find where most expressed in Buddhism, as one of the goal of life is attaining nirvana. So naturally Buddhism got this word from Vedanta. This nirvana is not letting mind to be selfishly active and dousing the passion of fire. That is called nirvanam. That's why it is said becomes pacified, having no fuel. Pacified means extinguished. No fire will not burn. So much desire is extinguished. Like that, it is not about any example he gives from, brings it from the Kumari, and then it gives the story and gives his own teaching. The Uddhava, that Avadhuta says, तदैवम् आत्मन्यवरुद्धचित्तो न वेद किंचित बहिरंतरम वा यथेशुकारो नृपतिम व्रजंतम मिशौ गतात्मा न ददर्श पार्श्वे. Now comes the story of another thing. Child is done, baby, then Kumari is done, then comes the story of Sarakrit. You remember the slok? Sarakrit was one of the 24 gurus. Sarakrit means one who makes Sara, or the arrow maker. From arrow maker, what is the spiritual knowledge he got? From there also, not the making of Sara is spiritual, but something he sees from Sara maker. When making arrow, one has to be very carefully make, because if there is no balance between two sides, you shoot straight and it will go on one side, whatever. So it has to be equally distributed. What weight has to be there? It has to be sharpened on same side equally. Like it's very focused work to make the arrow by hand. Otherwise, it will not be good arrow. So arrow maker was making arrow, and there, as the arrow maker, he says, doesn't know if king has just walked by its side. Celebrity has come and you don't take care anything. Celebrity, arrow maker is a very humble person. But king, a great king, had come and walked by his side. He didn't look at the side to see who has gone by. Because he was so busy in making his own arrow. I learned from the arrow maker the focusing mind on the thing that we work. Yatha ushakaro, having the mind thus controlled within himself, the man at that time knows nothing external or internal. So when you are in meditation, you don't know anything external. You even forget that you are in the shrine or under the tree. You forget the surrounding. That is nothing knows external. And internal is our mind. Mind thinking something else, I'm thinking. You are not aware of mind thinking anything. Your mind is fixed on the object of your meditation. So, like what? Like it says, just as the arrow maker, with his mind absorbed in making the arrow, did not notice the king passing by his side. So he was so attentively working on making arrow that he didn't notice the great emperor, the king, the ruler of the country had gone just by. Otherwise, anyone would stand and greet the king. But he didn't notice even the king had gone by that side. Sri Ramakrishna gives such example actually. He says one was catching fish, and one person came and, "Hello, sir, can you tell me the way to this village?" And that person didn't answer anything. He asked twice loud. He was not answering. Just the fish had caught that angle, and that after he caught the fish, put it outside, and then he said, "Hello, what you are asking? You are talking something. I told you so loud about the name of the village and asked you where is the way. You didn't reply. You didn't notice anything. Now you are calling me. What is the matter?" That time I was catching the fish, and fish had just taken the bait, and I can't let it go. Full mind was on how to get that fish out of water. So like that, this arrow maker, full mind is there. So that's how the example of alertness, an example of concentration that this person said. I learned about this concentration from this arrow maker. You might have seen Avadhuta. So he becomes one of the 24 gurus, is arrow maker. Ekacharya niketa syat apramatto guhasaya. Oh, it's already. So verse 14 was there. It's all again another teaching of the Avadhuta. He says what the very advanced spiritual seekers should do. So we know about them. It's a message for advanced spiritual seeker who give up their house and go for spiritual practice in some Himalayas and get totally detached from worldliness and putting total in the search of God. So we'll do it next time. Thank you very much for attending today's class. And next Friday, what is the day? Next Friday? Yes, next Friday we'll have class in person and online as we have today. And next Friday, the subject is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So today we close with the closing chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmu. Thank you for attending the class and good night to everyone.